Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the final episode. I'm pretty sure this is going to be the final episode, at least for the foreseeable future, which is this week, because I'm going to be out on a business trip for the week. So I will not be playing, at least not on the PC, maybe on the Steam Deck. I will definitely not be making any content. So this is, in that sense, the final video. Also, I have pretty much maxed out the character, I feel. There are maybe some slight upgrades you can still do, but really not that much. So, one last time, let's get into it. Starting with the character overview, I'm level 97 Infernalist. Currently 8200 energy shield, so that went up quite a bit from the not so great 6900. 8200, that is quite a comfortable number, and also a lot of additional spirit, 565, which is very good. 35 block, I think we lost a little bit of block, perhaps because of an anoint, I'm pretty sure. And the rest is good. More chaos res as well, so in that sense I also got a little bit tankier. And not only that, you can also see a bigger army, but I'll get into that. Looking at the gear. What I have done is still the same thing, but a few changes. So, looking at the scepter, this has got more spirit than last time. It is the same scepter, but I have just been annulling off the desecrated modifier and then re-adding it, and then I keep rolling until I hit like a high spirit amount, which I did, right? 56% increased spirit. You could even Divine Orb this, I suppose I should actually try to get max spirit there. But then you would have a scepter with over 200 spirit and +4, which is great, right? And then the rest of the stats is kind of like whatever. Ideally, you get increased minion damage on there, but that just didn't happen. So it's SSF, right? And there is the 15% spirit rabbit idol in there. Then the helmet, I don't think this changed really, but I got an idol of rari cash, which I found. So that's another 8% increased reservation efficiency of minion skills, which is great. This is a good number of additional spirits that you get. Then I made this amulet. I pretty much got lucky with a transmute and an augment hitting the +3 level and the 32 spirit. And then I thought, alright, let's slam it with an essence for chaos res, and then the rest is just some desecration and whatnot. Ideally, that 4% skill speed is something else, but I just ran out of currency. If I get more currency, I will annul off this desecrated modifier and reapply a desecrated modifier. And then I try to get, I don't know, like resistances, maybe attributes. But probably double res, that would be great, like chaos fire res, something like that. Otherwise, of course, great. Amulet allocated. Ancient Aegis, once again, armor and energy shield from your body armor. I think that's just a decent anoint. Still the amazing Venter's Gamble, and I added back in another Venter's Gamble, pretty okay. I got rid of the belt, the Ingenuity. I just take now a regular belt. This doesn't even have minion stats or anything, it's just life, resistances, some strength and whatnot. So good. Chest hasn't changed. Gloves I did upgrade, so now there's some chaos res over here, some energy shield, some dex, and some lightning res, because otherwise I'm not capped. The boots I already talked about, right, with Amanamus Gaze, I'm pretty sure. So that gives me a lot of movement speed. And then the shield hasn't changed either. So this has resulted specifically the idol of Ralakesh, the rabbit idol, and the upgrade of the scepter into a bunch more spirit, which then allows me to summon 12 of these specters. So 12 specters, that is, I would say, pretty good. Let's go into that, right? So I found a Romira's Requital, which is basically loyalty, but a little bit better because you get some life sustain if they take damage. So my summon Infernal Hound will take damage and then I will heal a little bit. It occasionally happens, it's nice. Rest is the same. The warriors kind of the same. I gave them rage and minion splash now. It's whatever, kind of. And calling strike. Ice Storm, same setup. I did take prolonged duration as well and efficiency so that it just is easier to cast and also lasts a bit longer. The Unearth, I got rid of mobility and just took armor break instead. Armor break, prolonged duration, heft. Just pure damage modifiers on the Unearth. You can get like 24 minions on a good day, so it's actually pretty decent. I put in a Storm Mage for extra shock and overcharge. Sometimes you will see a 30% shock then on the enemies because of this. The Pain Offering hasn't changed, the Weakness Curse hasn't changed. The Reaver, I've put in Uruk's Smelting. You will occasionally get like an additional 5% increased physical damage. Right, so if I break the armor of the enemies and my single Reaver hits that enemy, he will take 5% increased physical damage from all sources. I don't do that much physical damage, but still, you know, I thought it was okay. And then again, Rage and Minion Splash. Sniper hasn't changed, Convalescence hasn't changed, Cleric hasn't changed, and of course, the Zealots also have not changed, but I can now summon 12 of them, which reserves 481 Spirit. If you would even get a little bit more Spirit, I would take off a single Cleric, and I need about like 25 to summon an additional minion. I would probably take off Unearth for that and then do that, but right now I can't. So it's gonna be either a Cleric, you can also take another Reaver, but I lack 1 Spirit, right? So if I would mess around with my Scepter a bit, I could probably turn it off, but you know, all good. So that's the army composition. And I think those are also the primary changes. Now there's one more thing I wanted to show you. Atlas hasn't changed much. I did go into, because I leveled up, right? I did decide to take some critical hit chance, and also over here critical hit chance and damage. My minions now have about 9 or 10% crit chance. I think it's probably better than like these nodes over here, attack and cast speed. But it's probably around about the same. I don't think it matters too much. There's 2 more things that I did though. Better jewels. So this is a jewel, 20% energy shield, 5% damage, damage taken from mana before life, and attack speed and cast speed for minions. So this rolled naturally, and here you can craft these yourself quite easily. So this is something that you can craft as a modifier. What you need is the Delirium currency, and you can just slam that on a Sapphire. It's a prefix, always. So it will remove any of the available prefixes and just add maximum energy shield. This is essentially free in SSF. So this is great. And I'm also messing around with diamonds currently, but I haven't found a good one yet. So that's something that also got added. So that adds quite a bit of energy shield as well, right? If I take this out, it's like 270 energy shield, right? So that's quite significant, I would say. Alright, anything else? Not really, I don't think. It's just time for one more showcase. And then that's probably it. And then I will talk a little bit about something that I did also experiment with. Right now I'm not running Ritual anymore. I'm running an Overseer, an Abyss, and Irradiated, and I'm running Hilda. And I'm getting a bunch of bonuses from this. So Overlord's Influence and Domain Atlas passive points add twice as much content. And you proc that a little bit more with an Overseer, that tablet, right? Possess unique monsters, release spirits, and increase effective explicit modifiers on tablet for each type of tablet. So these are 3 types of tablets. So that's 75% increased effect of modifiers. I think that's decent. You can do Jados too, but I'm sticking with Hilda for now. There's one more thing that I tested, and that is really quite nice in many ways, but also
darkness can be contained,
yeah, ultimately I didn't stick with it. Once this guy is done talking, I'll tell you about it. So I have actually experimented earlier today with the gargantuan wasps. And the gargantuan wasps are the wasps that you may even see in this map as well. They're like these super fast flying wasps, and you can turn them into specters. And they are amazing at basically clearing the map because they're super fast and they jump all over the place. And it's great. It is just that when it comes to single target damage, it's just pretty bad. And that's a problem for me. Also in bigger maps like these, in a map like this, my army composition is quite good because, you know, you can see the sparks, they go all over screen, right? Like they're everywhere. So in a map like this army is great. And for something like Abyss or Ritual or anything else which has like a surface area and you just need to kill everything in that surface area, you're going to be completely fine. And that's good.
Paranoia manifest, eager to
Another advantage here is that these guys are elemental, right? So I can do a curse and I can do exposure. And that all adds up. The wasps are physical damage, at least by default. I'm sure you can like convert that in a way, but I kept it physical for the most part. And if you have purely physical minions, even though you give them rage, I gave them rage and I gave them melee splash and I gave them heft, I think, and some other things, right? Like you can give them a lot of good more multiplier support. But at the end of the day, why is this guy here? But at the end of the day, there wasn't much else I could do. And I think as a result, primarily single target damage just wasn't that great for the wasps. The clear was great, especially in maps like, let's say, Augury, or, you know, maps where these minions struggle a little bit more because they gotta get around the corner. Their sparks gotta get around the corner, and that's just hard to do, right? So in those kinds of situations, it's not so great, this army composition. You will definitely notice that, but when it comes to a map boss like this, I've applied now the curse, and I've applied the exposure, and it is fully, you know, fully delirium. So pretty tanky guy right there. Still dies without any issues, right? That was still super fast. If I would have had wasps, which also reserve a lot more spirit, that would have taken probably half a minute. And in that half a minute, you can die, right? So I think wasps are a serious option. And maybe once the sort of Spectre community figures out some better Spectres than this, I would definitely try and experiment with some other options. But for now, these just seem to be overall really excellent. The single target is just so good on them. Clear is primarily good in open areas like this. Like here, clear is just great, right? Don't have to worry about a thing, I would say. But you've also seen earlier showcases where, specifically in maps like Augury or in just like small tight spaces, these sparks and these guys just work a lot less, and they're minions that go more for the melee kill and that are faster in moving around, because these guys are pretty slow, right, in the end of the day. If you have minions that are faster, like the wasps, you're gonna find that they're much better. I even tried a setup where I had both, and that I could just weapon swap, and then I would either summon wasps or I would summon these guys. But then, yeah, then you're basically also dividing all of the strengths. So then I still had a curse, but I didn't have exposure and that sort of thing, right? It was a bit of a mess. So I think if you take one or the two, you gotta commit to the archetype. And so after a few hours of just playing around with wasps, which I did enjoy, I might enjoy it in a way more than these guys, because another advantage of the wasps is you can actually see what's going on. Right here the whole screen gets filled with sparks, so most of the time I can't really see anything, especially if you would have like a ritual or something, like we're about to see a ritual. But I go into this ritual and I'm not going to be able to see anything. So the only thing I sort of look at is my own health bar. If it goes down or not, and if it goes down too much, I press convalescence. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that playstyle, right? Like, I think that is completely fine. It's kind of ironic that I think the visual clarity in Path of Exile 2 is actually less than in PoE 1, but that's a bit of a different discussion maybe. But look at this, right? Like I have, if now a boss spawns, which sometimes happens, that's gonna be pretty hard to tell like their abilities, or sometimes even pretty hard to tell where these guys are, right? Sometimes you just can't make out where these guys are. Same for rogues. Like if I don't have rogue exiles on the minimap, on the overlay map, there's no way that I have any clue like where these guys are. And with the wasps, because they don't use spells, they just like fly in and start basically AoE melee splash attacking. There's a lot of visual clarity, and it actually all looks quite nice. That is not so much the case over here though. So there are definitely a few pros and cons of this specific Spectre, I would say. And yeah, I think it's just good to list those. So maybe in summary, good in open spaces, not so great in tight, close spaces. Not the fastest, right? So if you want to move around quickly, these guys are constantly lagging behind. The wasps don't do that, right? The wasps sort of proactively start killing everything. But I think these guys are, at least so far, pretty much unmatched in terms of a single target. And also for content like this, right? You just stand here. Like, I gotta watch the chaos bolts a tiny bit. But otherwise, I can just stand here and basically wait. And these guys will clear everything. And this is true for most of the content. It's true for Abyss. It is true for Breach, right? If a Breach would be in this map, I would just walk up to the Breach, open it, and just stand still. Because the sparks are gonna be everywhere, right? So that's not a problem. And then the bosses will spawn, which is also not a problem. They die basically instantly. Just like the map boss that you just saw. And even for things like the essence. Like previously I did some sort of like I did like pre-exposure like here, and then pre-curse, and then I open it. But you don't, these guys by now, they are so high level and do so much damage. I really don't have to do that. I can if I want to, of course, but I don't have to do that. So in terms of like a chill play style and everything, it's very cozy, and I think you can tell that the build in that sense has improved. Also from this perspective, right? Like you summon shit, which is most of the League mechanics, isn't it? It's a variant of this, ultimately, at the end of the day. You can just stand here, wait. Like I don't have to do anything. I can optionally press Unearth and summon a few extra minions. And now that I see my energy shield go down, I press Convalescence. But that's it, right? That's it. And that's also the map. Relatively quick map, especially compared to the previous showdowns, I think. And showcases. So, yeah, I'm very happy ultimately with the result. There's minor improvements I think you can do. But not many significant upgrades. Also, there's not that much other content that I can do, I feel. I've killed all the bosses. Maybe I can show you like one boss as sort of like a final showcase. I'm sure I got something unlocked in that sense. Let me just quickly drop everything in here. Because this is also an excellent bosser, which I think why is also such a great sort of league starter, because you're not going to be stuck in progression. You're not going to be very fast, all things considered, right? But, you know, you will be able to kill every single boss without any issues. Let's see, surely there is a citadel available somewhere, right? Here? Oh. A vault? Maybe I've been doing most of these at this point. I suppose so. I would have expected that I had like maybe 1 or 2 open, but it doesn't really necessarily look like it. Nope. Even though I got in theory a lot of them. Well, you'll just have to take my word for it, I'm afraid. I'm not able to show you, but you saw what just happened to the map boss, right? So that's probably good enough. I also removed the MTX. I actually quite like how this looks. And then you can see the Whispering Ice staff, which is cool. Alright guys, this is gonna be the end for now. I will be making, I think, a pretty long, more almost cinematic overview of the progression of this character. Now you've only seen the updates, but I've been recording pretty much every upgrade, every kill, every bit of progression. So I'll just have to turn it into a script and a massive video. That's gonna take a few weeks, at least. And I think in that video I will also do a sort of like review kind of thing. So you got that to look forward to, hopefully at least. And yeah, I'm gonna be off for a little while, but I will check with you guys next weekend, sometime next weekend. So that's in a week, give or take. Hope you all have a good week and a great weekend, if that's still part of what you are doing. And I will see you guys all soon, guys. Alright, thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Alright, bye bye guys.